encourage people just to really think about, others around you. And to think not only of physical health, but of mental health as well, just given the challenges that we have as a community at this time. And for each of you, and for those that are around you, I do think that, especially in North American society, we talk a lot about mental health, but don't necessarily really do things that support, mental health amongst us. So if I can just leave you with 5 quick points in respect of trying to promote mental health amongst yourselves, perhaps that's one way we can try to lift our community through this very challenging time. So, first and foremost, and these are from, there are a number of different agencies that have promulgated these. I know that the Center for Addiction and Mental Health talks about these 5 steps towards mental wellness. It's kind of like, for physical health, they say that have at least 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. Well, there's also 5 steps for mental health. And if you want to look at it that way, say that, you actually need your daily dose as well if we're to optimize mental health. So one is to connect with others. Actually really connecting with people, right? We're social creatures. The more we're able to actually connect with each other, we know the better you're going to feel and the better mental health you will have. And it goes both ways, right? It's good for your mental health. It's also good for the mental health of the person who you're checking in with, particularly if that individual is isolated and can't get out. So I think connecting with others is very important. The second piece, of the 5 is to be active. And this doesn't have to be a big production. Doesn't mean that you have to get, kitted out with, the latest running shoes or some really nice fancy gear or, fancy equipment. You don't need any of that, right? Take the stairs, walk, right? These are simple ways. Park a little bit further away from your, the main door of your destination and add a few extra steps to your day. These are very simple, and I think there is I know there is a growing body of evidence that talks about, or that focuses on the benefits of physical activity to mental health. These two are inextricably linked, and they do make a difference. Third is to try to learn something new every day. And again, this doesn't have to be a big production. When you're connecting with somebody, asking them a different question and finding out something new about somebody is just as much learning as anything else. So, and in this time of COVID, when many of us are somewhat restricted in our activities, reading the book that was on your, nightstand, waiting to be cracked open, now's a good time to do that. I know that certainly COVID has seems to have elicited the baking skills or, awoken baking skills in many people. Actually, my neighbor has decided to, became a baker over the course of COVID-19. So we keep getting treated with the latest sourdough recipes of his, which is always nice. So whatever, your interests are, pursue them. If you have the time now, why not take that opportunity? Learning something new is actually really good for your mind and for your mental health. The fourth thing is to be mindful, to be aware and present where you are. Actually, this is one of those things that I notice is a difference between what I would characterize as Canadian culture and Filipino culture in the way I observe it. And I realize that I have this probably a bit of a funny vantage point. Right. On the one hand, I feel very comfortable in the Philippines and I feel that I can kind of get into the mindset. But by the same token, I also recognize that, having spent the vast majority of my life in Canada, I'm pretty North American too. So from where I sit, what I think is very interesting is that I find that as Canadians, the Canadian culture and mindset is kind of like, let's work really hard now, we'll delay gratification for some later point, right? It's always, there's always, we're working towards something in the future, which is a good thing. It has there are good elements to that. But I think in the process of always working towards some goal in the future, we forget to enjoy today. My observation, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, maybe we take a Zoom vote, is that Filipinos are particularly good. Filipino culture is really good about enjoying what we have right now, right? Maybe almost too much. I'm not sure. maybe not always necessary, and maybe you need a little bit of both. Yes, a little bit of planning for the future, but also taking the time to appreciate what we have right now, right? There is something to be said about really savoring the present. And that is something that I really appreciate and value from Filipino culture. So to my mind, we need a little bit of both. Yes, some goal orientation. Yes, some thinking towards the future. But I would say that Canadian culture is deficient in that we don't take the time to appreciate what's in front of us right now and to really enjoy it. Because, as I get older, you start to really appreciate how short life really is, and how much, the current time, like how valuable it is to, and how lucky we are to be able to enjoy what we have right now and how we should savor that more. So that's the fourth point. And the final and fifth fruit and vegetable equivalent for your mental health is giving back, right? That has also been increasingly studied in the literature. And we know that giving back to our community, giving back to others, actually is incredibly powerful and incredibly beneficial for your own mental health. So with that, I'm going to wrap up my remarks. Those are your mental health steps, your COVID steps. I think about the W's, right? Watch your distance, wash your hands, wear a mask, and work together. That's what we need to do as a community to see us through this very, very challenging time, which I know we will get through with some hard work and a little effort.